The infrared heaters have two circuit boards. You have the front board panel and you have the rear board. And in this video, we're going to learn how to replace the rear board. The front board doesn't go bad very often. There just isn't a whole bunch to it that can go bad. So we're going to replace the rear circuit board. And to begin, we need to remove both sides of the heater. And the way that you do that is you would lay it down on one side and then remove the 5 screws. So these 5 screws are holding on the left panel. And then we flip it over to the other side and remove these 5 screws. Now I always recommend that when you're working on an infrared heater that you put the heater on a soft surface. Now here we have carpeting, so if you can put it on the carpeting that would work. Put it on your bed, you can do it on there. But don't do it on a hard surface because you could actually scratch the heater. Now once you remove the 10 screws, 5 holding each side on, you then put the heater upside down with the back facing you. And then you remove both sides. And the way that you do it is you hold the corner of the panel and you just pull it away. Now it may feel like it's going to break, but they don't break. Now that exposes both sides of the heater. Once you have both sides removed, there's a white zip that holds the wires together. You need to cut that. In some heaters you might find that maybe there are 2 zips. Some have 1, some have 2. You take that zip tie off. And now what you need to do is remove the board. And to do that, there are 4 Phillips screws that you need to get to. If you have a small Phillips screwdriver like this, you can reach in there and get it with that. Or if you have a flexible bit like this, it will actually bend. And then you would reach in there and take them out with that. So you go in there and remove the 4 screws. There's 2 at each end. Okay, so those 2 are out. Now we do the 2 on this end. Okay. Collect the 4 screws and make sure you don't lose them. Then there is a piece of black plastic that the board sits in, and so when you go to put the new board back in, you set it in this piece of plastic lining up the 4 holes where the screws go, and then you would put it in place. So now to replace this, what you need to do is pull each of the wires off one at a time off of the old board, putting them in the same location on the new board. It's easier to do this by pulling them off with pliers rather than your hands. Also, when you pull, turn them as you're pulling. It makes it a little bit easier. Don't turn them too hard, just a little bit. It makes it easier to pull them off. Black, brown, orange. So then I'll put them back in the same order. Black, brown, orange. Now because it's a little tight in here, you can't see exactly what I'm doing, but you know that we're just taking the old ones off and putting the new ones on at that location. The wire fell off. It's actually a little loose, so we'll tighten that a little bit. Alright, so now we'll take this black one off. And then there's a a double white one. It actually has two plugs into one. So put the white one in. And then the black one. This is one of the more difficult parts to replace. It's not that hard, you just need to take your time. And then you have the white plugs on the bottom. The one is called a trunk wire. It'll have 6 or 7 white wires on it. And there's a plastic release. You push this to release it in order to pull it out. And then there's a little black one that also has that little plastic release to pull it out. And then you got that one out. Alright, make sure all the plugs and connections are in securely. And then we set it back into this black plastic piece. And then we put the screws in. Okay. Okay, once the 4 screws are in place, you've now replaced the circuit board. The final step then would be to put the sides back on. So you turn the heater with the back facing you. You put this corner in first down here. And then you rotate it down in place. This little knob that sticks out here needs to go behind this. So you pull it and push it in like that. It's a little tricky. When you do it enough, it gets easy though. Then we do the same thing over here. And then we put the 10 screws back in, 5 holding this, 5 holding that. You've completed the repair of replacing the PCB board, or it's called circuit board. It has 2 names, it's the same piece.